Hello, guys. Hope you're doing well. Happy Tuesday. Thank you to Caroline Dill for the meme today. It is Tuesday. Let's get this. So, what are we talking about today? Yesterday we practiced some multiplication puzzles and some distribution topics. Today we're going to start synthetic division, which I actually think is pretty fun. But then again, I'm a math teacher, and I can say a lot of things are fun when you won't find them fun. I hope you'll join me in thinking it's fun. What is synthetic division? Synthetic division is a shortcut you can use when the divisor is in the form of x minus something. To you, this is a hashtag. To me, it's the symbol for a number. So when your divisor looks something like this, x blank number, then you can use this. Now, if it was 3x plus 1, you couldn't use it. If it was 10x minus 1, 1 half plus 2, you couldn't use it. If it's plain old x plus or minus a number, you can use it. Why is there a minus in here? That minus means you're going to take the opposite number. Remember vertex form, the h. We took the opposite of the h. It's the same here. When you see your number here, this plus 1 would be a negative 1. Okay, keep that in the back of your mind. Synthetic division has some steps to it. Okay, and before I start showing you what to do, we should probably go those steps one by one. And I'm probably going to walk you through the steps one by one as we go with an actual problem. So what is step 1? Step 1 is to slow down. Synthetic division is pretty easy to make a mistake. If you're slow and methodical, you'll always get it right every time. So step 1, slow down. Step number 2, write your number and your coefficients in a line, and then draw your line. What the heck does that mean? So synthetic division has a very specific way to write, okay? If I gave you the problem 5x plus 6 divided by x plus 1, here's what you would do. First, you would write your number, x something number, this number. The opposite of it, plus 1, I'm going to write minus 1. And your coefficients. So now I'm going to write all my coefficients in the other piece. I have a 5 and a 6, so I'm going to write a 5 and a 6. And then draw your line. What is your line? It looks like this. It's a big L. And leave space in here because you're going to be doing work in here. To summarize, step 1, we took a deep breath because this isn't as bad as it looks. Step 2, write your number. My number was here, and I wrote it. I changed the sign because we changed the sign. In a line, and write your coefficients. I had a 5 and a 6, so I write -1, 5, 6. And then I drew my line, which looks like an L. All right, there's step 2. Step 3, bring down your first coefficient. My first coefficient was 5, so I'm going to bring down my 5. Step 4, multiply. Oh my gosh, why did I write K so many times? Multiply your number by that number and write your answer below the next coefficient. So I'm going to multiply my number by that number, and then I'm going to write that in this spot. So it goes, whoop. So -1 times 5 gives me -5. Then you add, and you repeat until you're done. 6 plus -5 gives me 1. Do I have any more numbers to go? Nothing over here, so I'm done. This is the shortest possible problem. It only has 2 steps. My last step is to set my remainder over x minus your number. What I mean by this is set your remainder. What is your remainder? Your remainder is going to be your last number. No matter how complicated this gets, no matter how long these problems get, the last number is always going to be your remainder, okay? Set your remainder over your x minus number. I had x plus 1. So I'm going to make my remainder 1 over x plus 1. Lower your powers by 1. What was my power of x? X to the 1. So I would lower that by 1, x to the 0, which means I don't have an x anymore. So I don't have any x's anymore. So I don't have anything to put back. So my answer ends up being 5 remainder 1 over x plus 1. But let's do this a couple more times, and hopefully you'll get a sense to the pattern. Step 1, slow down. Step 2, write your number. What's my number here? It's x plus 1 again, which means I take the opposite of plus 1 and I get negative 1. And then I write all my coefficients in a line. What's the coefficient of x squared? 1. What's the coefficient of 5x? 5. What's my coefficient of here? 6. Okay? Then draw your line. Okay? My big L. Step 3. Bring down your first coefficient. My first coefficient is 1. Step 4. Multiply by that number and write your answer below the next coefficient. So, negative 1 times 1 gives me negative 1. Step 5. Add and repeat. So 5 plus negative 1 gives me 4. Now I repeat. What's negative 1 times 4? Negative 1 times 4 gives me negative 4. Then I add. 6 plus negative 4 gives me 2. Do I have another number? Nope, so it looks like I'm done. So last step, set your remainder. So my last number, set your remainder over x minus number, x, so that's x plus 1. So that's 2 over x plus 1. That's my remainder. Lower all my x powers by 1. So what was x to the power of here? X to the 2. I'm going to lower that to x to the 1. This x is to the 1, so I'm going to lower that to x to the 0. And I didn't have an x here anyway. So now I only have one x. So I'm going to plug my x back in at the beginning. This is a positive 4, so that's 1x plus 4. So my answer ends up being 1x plus 4, remainder 2 over x plus 1. All right, let's look at example 2. Slow down. 7x plus 3 divided by x minus 5. Write your number. Minus 5, I'm going to rewrite that as a plus 5. So positive 5.
Uh-oh. Pollen incoming sneeze.
Whew, sorry about that. That pollen is brutal. I've been sneezing all day. So, write your number. So it's minus 5. I'm going to take the opposite, plus 5. And your coefficients. So what's my coefficient here? 7. Coefficient here? 3. Then draw my line. My big old L. All right. So now, step 3. Bring down your first coefficient. My 7 comes down. Step 4. Multiply that number by your starting number and write your answer below the next coefficient. So, positive 5 times 7. 7 times 5, 35. Write that below here. Step 5, add and repeat as often as you need to. 35 plus 3 is 38. Do I need to repeat? Nope, there's no more numbers here. Lower your powers by 1, x to the 1, lowering that to 0. I don't have any x's left, so my answer is just 7. Set your remainder, my last number, over x minus 5. And that's my answer. My answer is 7, remainder, 38 over x minus 5. Example 4. Step 1, slow down. Step 2, write your number, minus 3, change the sign, I get positive 3. And your coefficients, so that's 5, 3, negative 3, my bad, and negative 36. All right, and then draw my line. Okay, bring down your first coefficient. My 5 comes down. Multiply your number by that number, and then write your number below the next coefficient. So, I'm going to change color. 3 times 5 gives me 15. 15 plus negative 3 gives me 12. All right, I still have another number around here, so now I do 3 times 12. What's 3 times 12? 36. All right, what's 36 plus negative 36? 0. And do I have anything to repeat? Nope, I'm out of numbers. Step 6, set your remainder over x minus your number. Do I have a remainder? No, I don't. Lower your powers by 1, so my squared turns into a 1. My 1 turns into a 0, so I only have 1x left. So I'll plug that in here. And put your x's back. All right, so my x got put back. This is a positive 12. So my answer is 5x plus 12. No remainder, because my remainder was 0. So the question, what the heck is the point of this? Is this me just as a teacher wasting your time? No, not really. So what the point is, if your remainder equals 0, if in a synthetic division your remainder equals 0, then your x minus k, your x minus your number, is a factor of the other number. If I asked you, is 2 a factor of 30? You'd say, yeah, Mr. Brown, duh. I knew that for like 20 years. Um, if I asked you, is x minus 3 a factor of 5x squared minus 3x minus 36? You'd say, Mr. Brown, how the heck am I supposed to know that? Like this. X minus 3 does go into this number. And we know that because our remainder was 0. That's the point of it. If you have questions, I will have my Zoom call link in the GroupMe. My Zoom hours are 3 to 5. So if you can come and you have questions on this homework, I can walk you through it over Zoom. The link should be sent out in the GroupMe today around 2:30 for you guys to join if you need help, okay? So here's the homework. I've got 4 problems for you, just like I did. And then I've got one more problem of list the transformations, because some of y'all still don't get it, and I want to give you as many chances as possible to figure it out. And I gave you arrows to help you. There are 4 answers to that last one. Each one of those transformations is going to be something. Best of luck. If you need help, catch me on Zoom. Other than that, have a great day. I'm praying for all you guys. Bye.